Welcome again to Mystic Revolution. We are in season 5, and we're talking about the soul, what the soul is, what soul work is. But before we get into the conversation with Wendy, she's smiling. She has a lot of good stuff to say about this. We're going to do a quick meditation. And I invite you to really allow yourself to settle into it. Just settle in, give yourself some space and time to listen and to take in and go in and see what happens. So with that, go ahead and close your beautiful eyes. And let's just take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. And just allow that in this moment, there's nothing to do but be. Just be with yourself. Allow yourself to feel the weight of your body in a chair or on the floor, wherever you are. Just feel the weight of your body in your body, the physicality of you. And you can tune into the idea of the earth below, or maybe you're outside and tuning into that is pretty easy because it's right there. Well, we are beings on planet Earth, and the more we allow ourselves to connect with the earth, to ground with the earth, to be with the earth, the more solid and centered and settled and safe our bodies feel. Our bodies, our hearts, our minds. Let all that you are as you are settle and connect with the earth. And let's take a nice deep breath in all the way down to the base of your spine, to your root chakra. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. And allow yourself to be rooted in you. Rooted in you. And we can go into our heart space and we can allow our heart, our own heart, to connect down into our root center and then connect all the way down to the heart of the earth. So our hearts are rooted in ourselves, rooted in the connection with the heart of the earth, rooted in the earth. As we breathe in and out in this rootedness, can help settle our senses, soothe our nervous system, allow ourselves to just get quiet. And be even more aware. Even more present to ourselves and to others. And so I invite you to stay in this state, play with earth energy, play with other energies, but allow yourself to play with the idea of presence and presence within you as Wendy and I come back into everyday consciousness so that we can talk more about soul and soul work. I'll just start by saying this rootedness and this groundedness is something that I really, really needed to learn before I could even really, when I could intellectually understand things, right? But also all over the place. Really needed a tool that helped me kind of go like that. So with that, we're going to talk more about the soul and soul work. And Wendy, I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on this, examples from your own journey. Please.
I so appreciated your real sharing last time, and that had me think about throughout my life experiencing soul senses and what that was like. So I just want to briefly say, what was that like? Because first, it's not just spiritual information, as we said last time. In our soul, we experience body information and other people's information and information about what's going on in the world, and then also, and in ourselves, and also spirit. So there's a lot going on. And I want to say that for my whole life, conscious life, I was experiencing what's called, empath information. I was experiencing emotional information from other people pretty strongly, and not just the emotion of it, but like seeing it, seeing their whatever it is. Particularly, I'm remembering when being very little, seeing their disturbance, seeing like my earliest memories are overlays of the physical and the energy information because they were traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing the energy and feeling it. And so anyway, that was happening. And a lot of people can relate to that. And then I had my first like major vision in my preteens. Mother Mary came. And that was a huge turning point for me, because that was this, it was becoming a mystic. It was this, getting spiritual information. And even though I spent my life still today being an intellectual agnostic, intellectually, I don't buy it, and that's okay. But I also was a mystic before I was fully rational. And so there's a reality to this spiritual information that is early and really gave me a context in which to see life and religion and such. And then another big shift happened in my later teens, mid to later teens, 17, really experiencing a spiritual group that love and God were palpable. And I started really being able to open more to spiritual senses, Jesus and God and connection and oneness and that kind of thing. And then when I was 29 and a half, my psychic senses blew open like crazy. And that was amazing and really disturbing. And I got myself in a lot of trouble energetically until I came to start to learn what we talk about. And I'm saying this because some people might like be like, oh, I've had that, and it's so there's different ways to perceive and different things going on. And then, but when I started this practice, I started to be able to have some choice about it. Before that, it was all just happening. Like I was perceiving and not perceiving. I couldn't control it. Um, Bad stuff, good stuff, stuff I had no idea what to do with, scary stuff, overwhelming stuff, and beautiful stuff. But it was all just a jumble, and I had no distinctions, and I had no control.
Yeah.
And I was miserable because I was carrying everybody's pain. It was just shit, right? Like you might be like, oh, she had vision, she had this. Yeah, but it was shit because because I was so overwhelmed that I got really sick and I was unable to operate, you know? So like so people are like, why? But why do you need to train? Like psychics are just you're psychic. It's like it's like being put in a war zone and feeling it all and seeing it all, but not being able to do anything except get shot. Um, so anyway, that's a little bit of pictures. I just want to see, what you want to say, Susana, in your experience, because all of this was occurring in my soul, but I had no volition about it. And it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. And I mean, sure, a lot of people can relate to it. And I think being able to find yourself in the midst of that, I mean, it's huge. And I think, I mean, honestly, that's the task of all. It's the task. It's what all humans can do, whether they've got all the stuff going on or not. It's just not something that's like really introduced to us as something that can be, in sort of the traditional institutions and forms of growing up,
Mhm.
as an option. And I'm not saying that there aren't options for self-development in the spiritual realm. Of course there are, in the religious realm. Of course there are. The full sort of depth and breadth that brings one to that pure awareness of self, that can make sense of all of that, can can choose. I mean, it's like anything. You can have flashes of experience. Of course I did. Of course you did in the midst of that. But then how does one make that more, normalize that? It's
Yeah.
not just an anomaly, but it's actually something that you can cultivate, create, have it become your default space rather than this like thing that happens every once in a while that you don't know when it's going to happen. And,
Mm.
this goes back to our conversations about mastering your energy. And I've said it before. I think mastering your energy and choosing to master your soul senses, to take that direction, is one of the most radical things we can do. Literally, it's the essence of taking responsibility for yourself, knowing yourself. And, I feel like I know myself pretty well, and I'm fully aware I'm like probably just scratching the surface. And this isn't, some myopic, narcissistic, self-centered exercise at all. It's taking care of my corner in the best way that I can, utilizing what I have to be the best person that I can, you know? And the only person that can really judge or validate that is me. I'm very aware, right? People might not look at me or anyone who's on this path and think, well, why are they, what are they doing? They don't
Yeah.
have these things that I consider to be important in life, or what,
Yes. Hmm.
you're right. I mean, as I talked about before, a lot of the things that we as a culture deem super important, they're lovely and wonderful. And of course, enjoying them is delightful. And I love them too. But they don't define me, and they don't, with or without them, I'm okay. And I think that's sort of what we start to realize. With or without those things, we're okay. With or without those things, we are who we are. And you can start to then navigate the world in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Out of the chaos, that you spoke so well about earlier, out of that, out of all the stuff that the world is telling us we should be and have and do. And, this is kind of stepping outside of the matrix a little bit.
Hmm.
It's, I'm not playing those games.
Hmm.
I'm playing a different game.
Yeah.
And everybody can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part. I find like this what we're talking about is available to everyone. Um, and we're all on a different, we all do it differently. We're all on a different track, but it is possible for all of us to learn to go below everyday consciousness and experience and choose and act and put our house in order.
Put our house in order. Yeah. And I really think that's it. I mean, people talk about, oh, be high vibration, high frequency, and we're all ascending. Maybe. I mean, I definitely feel better and feel more light in myself than I did in the past. But really, I mean, let's focus on, like, I think sometimes we get caught up in this whole thing, and the nuts and bolts of it are here, right? And from the inside out, we can uplift ourselves. Um, and we'll still be experiencing all the feelings and all the stuff, low vibe emotions and the high vibe. Right.
Hallelujah, because they're all good information.
Right. But we it's a different way of navigating it, right?
Hmm.
And again, being able to come back to that default space rather than, just being completely overwhelmed or whatever by it. Yeah.
Right.
I think we have a break coming up.
We do.
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hey everyone, just a friendly reminder that on the first Tuesday of every month, we hold a Mystic Revolution meditation, and you're invited. Just go to our website and you'll find the link. We look forward to seeing you then.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Welcome back to Mystic Revolution. And Wendy was just getting ready to share some insights and wisdom.
Last time when you were talking about presence, the picture that I got was really good one. It's slightly different than I usually see it. It was all the parts, I was saying there's all these pieces and parts, all these voices that we have, all these drives, all this upset, all this deliciousness. And I was seeing it be like all around the campfire, all these voices just all around the campfire. And my attention being in the center as the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so with presence is so powerful in so many ways. We could have a whole season on that. But I just want to say that it's the bomb, and it really changes us and it shifts our world.
Yeah.
So some of the tools that we use on purpose within to perceive and make change help us be more present and hear with who's in front of us or what's in front of us. But also the practice, the soul practice of saying hi to all these voices and all these personalities and all these needs and experiences around the campfire, and hearing them, be present to them, attend to them, so they don't have to be crying all the time or screaming all the time or um, angling for our attention.
Yeah.
In our soul work, we attend to these many parts of ourselves so they can just settle down and enjoy the song circle. They can settle down and allow the space for the spark of our attention to be present to you. Because if we have a bunch of little children running around hungry and thirsty and, crazy for love and validation and, having weeping sores and stuff, like, attention cannot happen. Presence can't happen. But we attend, we heal, we care for, and then that sacred space is clear, becomes clear.
Yeah.
We can utilize it to bring presence into the world, bring light into the world, bring attention to other people, which is a healing. Not all day long, but for a while, and then bring the attention back. Oh, here's kidney. Oh, these different parts within us attended. So what do you have to say about that, Susana?
Well, when we tend to that circle, all the parts and pieces, we give all the parts and pieces that may in the past have been neglected or whatever a voice. We're validating them. And when we can validate them from within, then, like, I'll just speak for myself, stop habits of needing validation from outside.
Yes.
Stop acting out in ways that need to draw attention to or call attention to.
Yes.
In my own experience, I've become a much better listener, because I can listen more from a space of being like an objective observer that can hear everything and hold anything without having any like personal reactions to it. I think the same is true for perspective, which helps in relationships and in problem solving. Right, the tendency to get emotionally triggered by something or hear something and automatically make it be about something about yourself starts to dissolve, and you can really be present to what's going on with the other person. And perspective about situations becomes a little bit different. Like, you really can start to see both the bigger picture, like see both macroscopic and microscopic, if you will,
Yes.
and like all the parts and pieces in between. And as we discussed like last week or the week before, I mean, these things, they help with things like being able to focus. I'm focusing so much better now, even better than I was a year or 2 years ago, just because I've been, honing this. And I, had problems with attention deficit and like being scattered. And it's going back to, what you always say, it's an inside job.
Yeah.
It really is an inside job. And I think if someone had said that to me when I first started out, like, well, all of it is an inside job, I would have been like, well, screw you. I'm not, first of all, I don't believe you. And that sounds too freaking hard. So shut up. Right.
And how would I do it? How would I possibly do it?
Yeah. But it's one of those things when you start, it kind of builds on itself. And then I guess the other thing I'll say the other habits that, and they were habits that I had because my perception was better, because my listening was better, because I was tending to the hurt parts of myself. I started to understand that I could change how I showed up and change how I felt. And that my tendency to be like, well, you're doing this thing and making me feel this way. I just started to melt away. It doesn't mean that, I didn't get irritated by things that happened or I would have a wave of emotion, but it would be, I don't need that person to like radically change or fix themselves in order for me to feel better. Yeah. And I also started to realize that, right, everybody has their own struggle and has their own pain and imperfections, and some people know stuff and some people don't. We all are that way. And usually if I felt hurt or affected by someone, they weren't doing it to me. They weren't doing it intentionally to hurt me or because they were so whatever, insert your big judgment there. It was simply because they were acting out of their own things that maybe needed tending to, right? In the same way that I was.
Right. Oh,
Right?
yeah.
We're all doing this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I just talked a lot. Please
Thank you for sharing.
add. Or
Yeah. So we are headed toward close. And the one thing I really want to make sure that I say before we close is everything we're talking about is not talk aboutable. And the reason that and I think we talk about it in all these shows is to hopefully inspire people to go within and to start engaging where we don't even know we can.
Yeah.
And that goes deeper and deeper, as you're pointing to, and the fruit gets better and better. But the two things that I've had the most trouble with, I think, in sharing these tools, sharing this process that we do, is that what I say makes no sense. And then people think they're already doing it when there's more. There's more. And so I really like the picture of riding a bicycle. We can think about riding a bicycle and watch people ride bicycles. We can read about washing bicycles, watch videos. We can go on and on. But until we actually get on the bicycle and fall down a few times and learn to go and find balance, and then we can always be on the bicycle, and then we can get better at the bicycle, mind you. But and we can go places on it. But very much the soul work, from my experience with so many spiritual people, so many people who are really clearly having psychic information and having visions and making a difference for people as a spiritual leader, there's another step into actually consciously engaging in our own soul. That is a big leap. And that's what we're trying to talk about. And hopefully inspiring people to go deeper.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Wendy. We are at the end of this episode. So before we say goodbye, let's take another moment to do a meditation. And again, I really invite you to allow yourself to settle deep down within. And let's see if you can just put your awareness into your heart space. When I say put, but let's just allow ourselves to drop in there. Just allow it. There we are in the heart. And what if we could almost see ourselves small version of ourselves in our heart space. I'm just kind of looking around with a flashlight. I like to talk about it, like things that I do with my clients. I put on a headlamp and kind of spelunk down into the heart or other parts of the body, just to look around and get to know things, get to know ourselves. And you can even take that deeper. What if you were just to drop into your soul, or what feels like your soul? There's no right or wrong way to do this. Just giving yourself space and time to drop deep down in and be with and look around. And you can remember that deep grounding we did with the earth in the beginning. And in this moment, you are safe. You are where you are, and you are with you. And just allowing yourself to take a look inside. Pull up the hood of the car. You may have sensations, you may have feelings, you may get pictures of things, and all of these are it's just information. It doesn't have to mean anything, or it may mean something. Let's take a nice deep breath into your heart, into your core, into your soul. Big soul breath. And exhale out. And I invite you, after we close, if you feel like it, if you notice things, go ahead and write them down. Write them down. Take note of what's going on within you, in you. This is the inner work. This is the soul work, an aspect of it. With that, we have so much gratitude for you for being here and joining us. And we welcome you to join us next time on the Mystic Revolution.
Thanks so much for playing with us. Please support Mystic Revolution by liking and sharing our show.
And sign up to get notified when new content is available. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always.
Join us for our monthly Mystic Meditation on the first Tuesday of the month at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time.
Click on the link in the description to get more information and join the Mystic Revolution.
We look forward to seeing you then.